Welcome to the fourth session of this faculty enrichment program organized by ISS College of Teacher Education and KHAJA BANDANAWAZ University, Karnataka, in collaboration with FAROOK Training College and PILLAI College of Education and Research in CHEMBUR. So today, to discuss the concerns of academic publications, we are having very resourceful faculty member of Jamia Millia Islamia, Dr.Sameerbabu M. I'm proud to say that I have worked with Dr. Sameerbabu at Aligarh Muslim University's Malappuram Center earlier. So Dr. Sameerbabu completed his PhD from Department of Education in Jamia Millia Islamia only. Later, he joined at Aligarh Muslim University's Malappuram Center as an assistant professor. Then he was appointed as a Central University of Rajasthan as an assistant professor. Then he came back to Kerala, again to University of Kerala. Now he is serving as the associate professor in the Jamia Millia Islamia. And he's very dynamic in giving his expertise, suggestions and support to all the budding faculty members as well as the experienced teaching fraternity. So with this short note, I'm very much happy to have Dr. Sameerbabu here as a resource person for the day. Welcome, Dr. Sameerbabu, to this session. And I also welcome all the participants to this fourth session. As we did in last 3 days session, I hope this session also will be made interactive with your active participation. And I also urge all of you to not to use the microphone unless it is required. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sameer sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nasir. It was nice to collaborate with you people always, since ISS College of Teacher Education always come up with some very rigorous activities of academic in nature. So I've seen that every bi-monthly they organize one or the other programs. So it's a reminder, kind of reminder is required for every member, whoever is a faculty member or researcher. So day-to-day basis, we need some kind of orientation so that it will be a kind of quality-driven activities from our part. So in that, regular meetings, regular orientations required, of course. So in this kind, we have initiatives by Dr. Nasir Ali, and he organizes lots of programs of this kind, sometimes conferences, sometimes publication related workshops. So here my duty is to talk about concerns of academic publication. So when we look into the publications, of course, it is considered as a very significant aspect. When we talk about a product of learning process, especially in the higher education, we have publication as one of the criteria. Of course, at the highest level of the degree, we have PhD, that is Doctor of Philosophy in the concerned subject. Similarly, we have various other titles in various countries, like you must have done D.Ed is something, Doctor of Education, Doctor of Psychology, PSci. These are some of the related aspects. So where we are in the philosophy of the subject, we are getting a degree in India most of the time. In some of the other countries, we are getting a doctorate in the same subject. So whatever it is, either the way. So the concern is that producing something innovative, producing something special to the field of knowledge. So in that line, when we look into the growing or emerging disciplines, so the contributions of the researchers is having its own significance. So how the researchers highlight or how the researchers showcase their potential contribution, it's only through the publication. When we are publishing something, publication is not always for the sake of publication. When we look into the standard journals, the standard in the sense we call it as standard because based on certain criteria, certain indices, certain ranking of Chicago ranking, sometimes based on certain indices, the impact factor. So there are certain parameters based on that. They have set as standard journals, like some of the journals of journals published by Sage, some of the journals were Taylor and Francis, some Science Direct journals. So all these Emerald is one of the things. Pincher is the, so all these have their own positions in the academia, in the sphere of the publication, because they publish quality research outcomes. So in India, we can see that many of the people publish just conceptual papers. Actually, when we look into the concerns of publication in India, we can say that we have a very nominal percentage of the people publish the original research work. What others do is they are just publishing for the sake of publication. I cannot deny that even sometimes we people are also going for that kind of publication. We don't have a standard rule. We still don't have a standard regulation. Yet we have the so-called UGC care listing. So the criteria of the care listing, when in a perspective of academics, when we look into the criteria and parameters of the UGC care system, care approval, so we can see that there are very vague criteria. There is no criteria. When you apply for a UGC care inclusion, you may not be getting, even though you have a history of very good publication. And another very significant thing I have to highlight is that we don't have a culture of strictly following the style of writing. So frankly speaking, many of the researchers are sitting and hearing to me. So I'm just asking you a question: how many of you are rigorously learned the concerned style of writing? So you can just write in the, if you know very systematically the style of writing, that is for the education, we follow American Psychological Association, Psychological Association style of writing. We are following the 7 languages. We have Modern Language Association style of writing. Other social sciences, we have Chicago Manual, Harvard Manual. For law, we have Blue Book. So n numbers of citation styles. So let me have your answers, whether you know strictly how to write a manuscript, how to structure a conference paper, how to structure your references as per the concerned manual that you are following in your department, you are following in your university. Yes or no? You can just type yes or no. So those who are okay. So the concern is that we are least bothered about the academic. We are least bothered about the academic publication. We are least bothered about the academic writing. So what based on my limited experience of various universities, I had understood that the students are not able to write properly. They are not able to paraphrase one sentence if they read from some of the journals. So this should be changed. We have to have a rigorous mechanism of teaching, learning of the concerned subject. Then only it will be. It has to start. We have to start it from the undergraduate level onwards. Otherwise, it's very difficult to teach the students, teach the researchers and budding researchers regarding the writing. Once you don't have academic writing capacity, you will not be able to publish properly. So it is the requirement. It is the requirement. It's a tool of writing concern or skill of academic writing. Then academic writing skill, people have a concern that it is the structuring of the references. Even many of the professors have the attitude that, okay, APA is for reference listing of the references. The APA is not simply for the listing of references, as you know, because these days the research scholars are well understood, better than the research guides. That is the reality. I have to tell you the reality that they are much ahead of the research supervisor in terms of the writing, in terms of the information about the resources, in terms of citation, in terms of understanding the concept, paraphrasing, using the tools for paraphrasing. Researchers are much advanced. So that reality, the research supervisors have to take into account. This is not the way that we are just giving something to the researchers and they are practicing as such. Advanced, world is advanced, the system is advanced, research, the procedures of research, we have lots and lots of improvement. So that we have to take into account in order to ensure the minimum quality of the research or research standards in the institutions. So in this regard, I can tell you that When you are talking about the writing, it is everything about writing is concerned about the manual. Manual is not a single line. Manual is not a single page. Manual is not a couple of pages. It consists of hundreds of pages that explains and illustrates each and every component of writing. For example, if you take an in-text citation, if you're talking about in-text citation, many people have they have least concern about the in-text citation. What is actually in-text citation? In-text, that is, once you are writing a text inside, you have to write very specifically quoting or the mentioning the names of the source. So in that, we have various kinds of writing that you must be knowing. What are the various types of writing that I'm just giving you a thing? What are the various kinds of in-text citation? Generally, we have direct quoting, isn't it? Direct quoting is there. Similarly, we have paraphrased. These are the two kinds of in-text citation we have: paraphrase and direct quoting. And in both the cases, we have two models of writing. We have two models of writing in both the cases. We have two models of writing. What are the two models of writing in direct? We have narrative, and see, we have parenthetical. This now, if you don't know, if you don't understand, if you're not able to practice these kind of writing in text, you are not able to go ahead with a good publication. This is an initial learning that we have to have. So that I have to highlight. Similarly, every sentence we have to, every sentence, whatever it is, every sentence we have to quote. Every sentence we have to mention the source in the within the bracket, that is citation. So citation, either narrative or parenthetical, we have to learn properly. So that is the basic concern whenever we are approaching a research publication. Now, this is the basic that research and productivity go in. Once you are doing a research, people say that they themselves, they claim that I am one of the best researchers in the subject. People have that concern. I am the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. They proclaim that I'm the best. They argue in some of the meetings like BOS, when BOS is happening, when the research advisory committee is happening in the department, when selection of PhD candidates is happening in the departments and universities, they argue that I'm the best and I will not support this. I will deny this. This is not okay. That is not okay. You have to come up with the other topics. But at the same time, where is your productivity? Where you have published recently? What is the updated publication in terms of what you are speaking about? Do you have any research book concern? So in that, we are just propagating, we are just proclaiming that I am one of the best. At the same time, publication wise, the index wise, we are just below. We are not focusing on that. So my concern is that, or the general concern is that when you have a research mindset, the productivity and research should go hand in hand. And the other nature, that social aim of research should be for social aim. We have a popularity concern. That is why also people publish. But these days, when you look into very nominal percentage of, very minimum percentage of people, they publish for popularity. When you are publishing for popularity, that generally, it is a kind of self-actualization kind of thing. When you talk about psychology, needs, hierarchy of needs, generally we speak about the social self-actualization as the topmost. So when you have a kind of esteem needs that I have to be one of the recognized faculty in the field. So how the popularity gets, how will you listed as top 2% of the scientists or 2% of the faculty in the specific? When you Princeton, when Howard, such universities, I don't remember, I hope it is Princeton. They put the 2% of the faculty from each department. So if you are some of the, it's very, so I'm also academically, I am also jealous to such people, because how they are popular in the subject, how they are contributing rigorously to the recent developments in the subject. So that makes them known as a 2% scientist or 2% people in the specific subject matter. So those people have the apex kind of mindset, the highest kind of mindset to contribute very rigorously to the subject matter. So that popularity concern is also there. Okay, now when we are talking about the basics as a researcher, so as a researcher, sometimes we are just wondering that, so we have a general concerns that, oh, everywhere it is politics, politics is taken, the appointment is based on politics, this is based on politics, I don't have anyone to recommend. These are the common common, what we call it as the common escape mechanism, the kind of adjustment mechanism that we have. At the same time, ask a question: how many publications do you have in Scopus? How many did you try anything in Scopus in the last 2-3 months? What is your recent development as a working paper? Are you working on a specific working paper? What is your reading habit? What new material you have read last week? Ask these questions to you, then criticize others. It's political. Of course, we know that some political influences happens everywhere, but at the same time, it is not that way. If you are a very good person, you have a research mindset that counts. The rigorous, the continuous, the what we call it as the all the time. If you have this kind of, it's a sustained effort of publication, that will definitely count. That will count. The interview panel, they will identify that, okay, he's a very good researcher, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's engaging here, he's engaging there. So that gives a kind of clarity to the board of interview that, okay, he or she is a very good person, so we have to hire that kind of person. So that kind of mindset among the interview board, we have to generate to the continuous effort of being a rigorous researcher throughout the lifetime, throughout the year. That is actually required, not counting your number of articles. Maybe till 2020, you have published 100 articles. Now, after 2020, no articles from your list. So that means that you have made some articles without proper understanding, without proper interest. It is not a sustained publication kind of culture you have. You don't have a kind of rigorous academic culture. In this, I can give you an example. If you look into some of the so-called best university, I cannot say that this is the best university. So if you if you enter into some of the websites of the universities like Cambridge, Oxford, Princeton, MIT. So take the publication record of these people. So Oxford, definitely you can find in Oxford University, and the departments, select your department, go to the CV of a respective faculty or professor. You can find that the culture of academics is very disciplined, in the sense that I can tell you that my academic culture is not at all disciplined. I have to be disciplined. I am dreaming to be a disciplined academician, but I don't have. Because the disciplined academician, they will publish in very good reputed journals, at least 2 or 3 in every year. It is a sustained. Below 3, it will not go. Below 2, it will not go. So every year, 2 papers. Every year, 1 or 2 paper conference presentations abroad. Every year, a few, 5 or 6, what we call it as invited lectures. Every 2 years or every 5 years, they publish a book. This is a sustained kind of academic. That is known as academic culture. That most of the Indian academicians, we don't have that kind of culture. If you develop that kind of culture, that is known as a sustained academic culture. So in research, this kind of mindset, especially the budding researchers, you should have this kind of mindset that I have to improve. I have to come up with such kind of things. Now let me go to some of the very basic things. I just taken from some of the websites, Times of India news blog. They mentioned that whenever you are publishing, it should not be simply from some of the journals. We have to go to the community to identify very rigorous aspects. Then only it will be clear. So that the community, in which you live, should be a source of problem. Okay, when you look into the types of publication, we have lots of concerns about types of publication. We know the lots of publications kind we have conference proceedings, we have publications of journals publications. In India, we have the so-called peer-reviewed publications. Everyone is peer-reviewed. There is no mechanism of peer review in India as such. Let me frankly tell you that we claim that it is peer review, but it is not at all happening, the peer review. What is actually peer review? When you understand the concept of peer review, you will understand whether the journal follows the peer review or not. By name, it is peer reviewed. Nobody recommends, nobody monitors, nobody evaluates whether it is peer review. So if I am working on a specific thing, for example, if I am talking about the educational policy and international migration for learning, in international migration for education. If this is my concern, if somebody from National Institute of Education Planning and Administration, some of the researchers, they published a paper from the educational policy or migration of students to Europe. So if that is a paper, they have to submit the paper. The journal, so-called journal, has to submit the paper to me because I am working as a researcher in the specific field. So I have to evaluate the quality of the paper, not anyone from the education. If one is having expertise and rigorous experience in the specific field, he may not be able to evaluate the paper because it is a rigorous exercise. So you can evaluate, of course, but the in-depth knowledge of the specific subject matter, specific area of research is not your concern. Even though you are a researcher, you are a senior professor of education, you have all the records in terms of citation, indexing, but at the same time, you are not a person to evaluate the person. So who can be, if a person who is from University of Kerala or who is from Jamia Millia, they are working on the field. He's a researcher. He's in the first year of his research. But he can be treated as a peer reviewer because his area of interest is, for the last 1 year, he or she is reading the manuscripts or reading the papers related to the policy and international migration for learning or to Europe. So he's a person who is very apt for evaluating the paper instead of the senior researcher. So that is actually the concrete criteria of peer review. That is happening, that is being practiced in various publication agencies like Sage and Taylor and Francis, Emerald or Springer kind of journals. Because I also got an opportunity to evaluate some of the papers. It's very senior professors submitted paper as a funded research. They have taken the entire district active sample, the whole population of a district as a cluster. They have carried out a very huge study of through her survey. But as a researcher who began the research for just after my 2 years of research, I got the opportunity because the field I was taken is also the same field, the paper. So I became a peer reviewer. So may not be some of the professors of my university may not be able to evaluate that because they can evaluate, but at the same time, they don't have an intense reading in the subject. This is actually the concern of peer review. What is a peer review of Indian journals? See the concern. If you take the top class journal, the so-called top class journals of India, but everywhere the system of academics is not good. We don't have a list of peer review. We are not taking who is interested in this subject and that subject. We are not keeping a record properly. It is required, a database is required. We have to eliminate someone to send the paper for review. We have to give time for the review. We have to give some kind of, even though it's monetary, not monetary, some of the support like subscription to the journal. These are some of the benefits that people get out of peer review. So that system we don't have, we are not following. Okay, now another very important thing I just to tell you that this is very significant concern about publication. When you are publishing, when you are sending something for publication, sometimes you get immediate feedback, immediate rejection. So what is actually many of the studies focus that immediate rejection gets because of the poor cover letter or lack of cover letter. Sometimes we do that. I also have a kind of attitude. When you submit something, please find the attached. Because I am in a hurry, I don't have time to rigorously go through that. Many of the Indian researchers, we are the researchers, and we generally submit at 11th hour. Generally, when you go to the culture of the research and publication in some of the Western universities, we cannot say that they are good. But at the same time, there are they have very significant research culture. So my supervisor always reminds me that if today is beginning of the application, you have to submit today. Why are you like, okay, I have 1 month of time, so let me submit slowly. We are taking the advantages of submission. But it says that those who are doing the first apply for the first time initially, so they are more planned in academics. So that kind of nature we have to develop. So the cover letter, when you are a submitter of 11th hour, definitely it is not possible to write a good cover letter. Cover letter actually, it is required. Sometimes it is to be attached with the journal publication. If you're submitting something to British Journal of Educational Psychology, they will ask you, okay, you submit a cover letter. So you have to upload a cover letter. So cover letter, the significance is that initially the publisher will never read your paper. What they do is they will just go through the, what they do is they will just go through the abstract. And abstract is having a very minimum information, right? It's having very minimum information. So they may not be able to understand exactly the quality of your paper. They will never check the, in India, some of the people check the, okay, if you're a professor, you can publish. If you're a assistant professor, no, we have to look into. If you're a research scholar, no, you don't have an entry to the journal. We take only the senior persons. This is the attitude of many of our journals. Many of the university departments also running the journals like this. A reservation for a professor. If the journal is by the university, they will reserve one slot for the professor. If professor is publishing any blunder, they will accept. Because it is a kind of attitude people develop in the department, even though in the name of the highest departments we have. The university level, the highest ranking, the topmost is the university departments, but they have this kind of attitude in many of the places. So what is the quality should be checked as a blind review. No one understand who is the submitter. Whether it's a professor, it's a poorly written abstract, it should be gone. It should be gone. We are not supposed to take it. So that is actually a requirement. So when you submit a paper, my concern is when you submit a paper, initially they will look into the abstract. Title, of course, they'll read the title. Abstract. Okay, abstract is this way. So when abstract is the way, they may not be able to understand to what extent the abstract is successful. The what extent the abstract is okay. I'm just pasting it in the chat box so that you can also download and do that. This is a must-read paper. Okay, regarding the cover letter. Okay, I posted in the chat. Yeah. See, so the concern is that the additional information may not be able to get while reading the abstract. So you can add very specific information about your background, additional background information, why you are claiming that this is one of the best papers, that will be one of the leading papers in your journal. Whether there is a controversy, you can also mention that. So rather mentioning your past accomplishment, you can mention the very significant aspects in the cover letter. Okay. Similarly, when you look into the reference part, when we are submitting, we have to ask question like this. I've just mentioned the Sachdeva here. So in many of my presentations, I use the same slide. Some of the additions I have done it. So some of the audience, they must have listening me maybe more than one time. I'm sorry for that. Actually, this is one of the concerns I have to remind you, because this is every time it is a requirement. Ask yourself certain questions. Have you done something new? If we are just taking some of the variables and some same kind of articles you are generating, so definitely there is no scope in replication. Have you done something new? At least the sample group has to be changed. At least the sampling method has to be changed. The tools have to be changed. So there are lots of mechanisms to make the specific thing new and innovative. Is there any challenging in your work? Will the result of your study influence the other researchers? Have you provided solutions to some very difficult problem? These days, we know that the problem is post-COVID learning situation. Students are not at all listening to the classes. There are lots of complaints from the teachers, especially in the higher education. People lost interest in attending the classes. In the university departments, people complain that they have an attitude of mass bunking sometimes. Mass bunking happens in the university department. In my department also, sometimes students mass bunk. They will not come. One or two comes and the others convince them that no, don't go today, please. We'll also not going. So they will mass bunk. This is actually the attitude. Earlier, the campus was very live and people were having an attitude of coming and attending the classes and utilizing the free time in chits and chats. But at the same time, now the situation will change. Not always, not everywhere, but there is a specific issue. Every department, even the science department and some of the very rigorous professional courses, professional programs, they require 10% attendance. Even they complain that students are not regularly attending. So that has to be, if the paper is addressing this kind of issue, definitely it will be considered as a very good solution to some problem. I'm just highlighting one of the examples. So such questions you have to ask you. So I just mentioned the cover letter and referencing definitely. Referencing in some of the, recently I have a friend from Indonesia. She mentioned that if you have a publication, let us collaborate. So I have already written the draft. She told me that, so we will do it. We'll further modify. You submit the draft, whatever it is with you. But mind that references should be more than 60. Because many of the Scopus publications have certain criteria. So it may not be written as such. So she mentioned that one of the professors is involved in the peer review of one of the journals. It is listed in Scopus. So he mentioned that the professor mentioned to her that you need at least 60 references, 60 as a references. Otherwise, it will not be considered, because some aspects of qualities based on the to what extent you have referred to. Similarly, do not use too many references. Some of the papers having loads of references in text. So it's actually, it loses the quality of your paper because readability may not be high. If all the numbers and figures appears like author and year appears in the brackets, so we have to pick the words in between. So it is very difficult for the reader. So it may not be getting proper readability. So that is why people say that do not use too many references. At the same time, we should have 60, 70 references. Yes. Now, self-citation. People have an attitude of self-citation. I have also seen some of the, when we get some paper, they will include one or the other paper of theirs, previous papers, because we know that the citation matters. So when they cite their citation, when they cite their work, so it will be getting them cited, getting their work cited, and they are getting the benefit out of that. Maybe some universities pay for citation, some universities count the quality or give awards in terms of citation. When I was in the University of Kerala, the then Vice Chancellor, he constituted some of the awards, and one of the awards were those who are getting the highest citation in a year. So that is actually a kind of motivation for the researchers. So we can also institute some kind of in the respective institution. So that people will be competing healthy in terms of the publication and getting citation with good publication. So self-citation, but it should be removed, or it should be kept very minimum. Now, avoid excessive citation of publication from the same region. Oh, this is one of the very good example. I can tell you that if you are publishing something, for example, it's a mental health and learning habits of people in India. It's your paper. So when you're talking about the mental health, you are not supposed to write the reviews only from India. You have to take the regional, all the continent you have to take. There should be some studies from Australia. The rest of the Asian countries, you should have some studies. African region you have to take, European, American, all the regions you have to take. And a few references, a few citations you should have from all the regions. Then only it will be good. Acknowledge your advisors, financial supporters, funding bodies. In India, definitely in India, Indian papers, see for example, some of the leading journals we have in the Journal of Education by NCERT. If you see the NCERT journals, very few we can find out the acknowledgement. At least the supervisor, funding sources, we are publishing the funded project and their result, but least number of acknowledgements we can find from these kind of journals. Funding bodies, suppliers who donated material, some of the lab you have visited, some of the persons those who have helped in your data analysis and research, other research processes, we are least bothered about these kind of acknowledgements. Whereas the so-called West region, they are very much interested in maintaining the quality in terms of the, it's a kind of what we call it as etiquette, that I just acknowledge the helpers, those who have supported. So this is also some of the reminders I have to tell you. Now, another concern is that these are some of the very significant purpose you can tell. I'm just copying and pasting because it's very relevant for all of us to read. See, You can go through that. I'm just taking it also. Okay. How to publish a scientific manuscript in a high impact journal. It is not a blog. It is a thing published. It's a in one of the science direct journals, Advances in Digestive Medicine. See, if you read it, you can understand the do's and don'ts. And I'm not reading line by line because I've shared with you. Now, my concern is that when you're publishing, some people have an attitude of developing the cooking up in the abstract. We'll cook up the abstract immediately. What is the way of abstracting? Writing the paper, selecting one or two sentences from the introduction, a few sentences on the need and significance. Methodology will be taken as such, the major findings as we are copying. So we are just making the abstract as such. Actually, this paper says that, if you read this paper, it says that you are not supposed to repeat anything that is mentioned in your full paper as abstract. It should not be repeated as such. But you will be asking how to do that, because my objectives are same. I have to mention in the objectives as such in the abstract. My results are same. Why don't I remove the results? That is not my concern. You have to mention the question. You have to mention the objectives. You should include the result in your abstract. At the same time, it is not exactly as such. Explain in another way. Tell them, let them read in a different perspective. Mention it's in a paraphrased form. Let them read it two kind of things and let them understand in a better fashion. So that is the concern for me. That is, when you are publishing, the abstract should not be repeating as such. Okay. Now the other very significant concern is about the UGC care. University Pune, it is having a very significant concern of listing the journals, UGC care, right? So UGC care, don't ask people, where is UGC care? Can you suggest it? Many people ask as a message, as a text message, or as a, what we call it as, they ask how do I publish, how to go for a UGC care list. Just go to UGC care, you have something to log in. If you don't have a login ID, just register here with your email ID, phone number, and whatever the details they are demanding. So here I have based on the Kerala University ID, I have an ID. Because I have registered in that. Okay, I'm not a robot. I'm just putting. Okay, if you done, okay, I've just logged in. I'm just saving the password. So whatever it is, up to you can. Okay, now see, here is the search. So you are just checking title wise. So generally title wise, if you are checking whether title is available or not, so you can go through that. One title, they say that it is in UGC care, so you can check it. Subject. Suppose subject wise, you are from political science, for example. Political science. Searching. These many publications are UGC care list. See, this is the details is very significant. This is index in Scopus also. The other is Rashtriya Rajniti Vigyan Shodh Patrika, print only. Indian Political Science Association. Globalism, Journal of Culture, Politics and Innovation. 4 windows I'm just going to the 4th window. Samiksha. Hey, see, this is one of the very significant things you have to see. The government the government annual research journal of political science. It is by Department of Political Science, University of Sindh, Jamshoro. It is discontinued from October 2020. So if somebody told you that I will take you publication, government annual research journal of political science. No, I don't want, because it is discontinued. You can directly tell Indian Journal of Political Science, print only. It is Indian Political Science. It's okay, because it's already there. It is till 2021, till present, it is the theory and event. 2019 onwards, it is there. So I can directly go to that, no issue. Samiksha, Sociology Research Journal, print only, Tunja Tirthachal Malayalam University. This is one of the universities in Kerala. So this is from 2020 onwards, they have care listed. So you can directly link whether it is corpus index also in care listed, whether it is only care listed, whether it is discontinued, when it has started, everything you will get. So further, never ever ask anybody for, and there is no shortcut. Let me tell you, there is no shortcut in publication. People have mirror journals, people have predatory journals, people have what we call clone journals, lots of journals these days we know. So mirror journals, some journals, they just published as such, Indian Journal of Political Science. If you see exactly as such, they will publish, but exactly the paper may not be included in that journal, but they will give you a cover page and take your publication, staple it, give you. Says that exactly the Indian Journal of Political Science, but actually it is not. And let me tell you, in a month or in a 6 months, in a month or in 15 days or in 10 days, it is not possible to have any journal publication. That is not an easy task. Nobody can give you a publication immediately. So make sure that if you are publishing, take your time. PhD is not happening in a month or in a 2 months. PhD is not happening in a month or two. So what you have to do is plan in advance. That is the quality of a researcher. If you need a publication in the first year onwards, after completing your research coursework, exams are over, you have cleared the coursework examination. Now plan what I have to do. Planning is required. These days, many of the PhDs are happening in 6 months. They will continue, they will have the fellowship, they will enjoy the PhD course, PhD program, but they will publish, they will collect the data and do all the activities in a hard work of 6 months. So instead of that, plan well in advance. If I am publishing, I have to publish a paper in the second year. Now try to do it now. Plan it, have a study, do it, go for the proofreading, submit to the supervisor if required, do it yourself, submit to your colleagues, submit to some of the professors, those who are, even though it is not your professor, but they will be able to give you comments. Go to the journal standards. What are the criteria of publication? Make it according. So this is the publications. Otherwise, what we'll go, okay, can you give a publication? मुझे presentation है, मेरा pre-submission तो next week है, so उससे पहले मुझे submit करना है, please कर दो. What is the possibility? How it is possible? So this should not be happening, because we have to do this rigorously. Selection of the journal, submitting it, follow up it. They will never look into whether you are. So recently, I can tell you an example. So one of the journals publishing from Tamil Nadu, I think kind of research and reflections. I don't know exactly the name. Research and reflection. Let me search it. So that will be good. And I'm just searching. So it may not be inside. I'm just giving you an example. That is why. Subject or a title. I'm just getting the title. I'm just giving you the scene exactly what is happening in India. Search and reflections. Something is like that. If it is there, I'll otherwise. I think it's not. Okay, may not be. Okay, I'm just okay. Yes, exactly the same. I submitted a paper to this journal. I'm not telling anything wrong about the journal. It's one of the best journals. It's one of the best journals. I recommend you the journal. So okay. Research and reflections on education. Its paper quality is also very good. But see, when I submit an article in the year 2021 January, I think, my paper, I didn't bother about whether it is accepting public, because I clarified that it's a good paper, no plagiarism. I structured everything as per. After 1.5 years, in 2022 September, I got it published. 1.5 years. I didn't bother because I was not in a hurry. Whenever it's coming, let them come. I also submitted a paper on the same time to the NCRT. Still it is under consideration. It's around 1.5 years old. Still it is under consideration. Sometimes they will not give you any clarification. See, another thing is, my interesting story I'm telling you again is, I submitted another article. I asked the person, because after getting the details, because we have to have an APC, article processing charges. I've submitted a small amount of article processing charge. Everywhere it is having, I think it's 1,500. Now, I asked him, because I got the email and the details. I asked him, sir, I have a good paper. Shall I submit it? So he replied, yes, yes, of course you can submit. But we have till 2027 September. His reply, I just wondered, till 2027, he has a queue for articles. So that much rigorous amount of submission we have in every journal. 2027, see, who will wait for 2027 for publication? This is the scene of publication in India. So mainly we are not focusing on much about the Scopus and the other index journals, Web of Science kind of journals. So this was just to tell you the story. Now, if you go to the Scopus, Scopus is also one of the very good data. Scopus, all the journals we can get from Scopus. Okay. Now, yeah, see, this is the Scopus. If you select your subject area here, what is, for example, I'm talking about sociology. Yes, it is inside the sociology and political science. Just applying. So it will list out all the papers. See how many results? 1,549 results as what? As journals publishing related to the sociology, subject sociology. Then there are quartiles, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, fourth quartile. If you need it, you can go through the journal. Okay, these are having very good index. So I need only the low grade journal, because I am a fresh publisher. I'm beginner. So I don't want, I'm not sure about the getting an entry into the very good journal. See, these are the journals. American Political Thought. It is having only the side score of 0.3. Social Work and Social Sciences Review 0.4. So the highest journals were having very good, only 164 in the fourth quarter. So this also you can, your subject area you can search here, identify the journal, go for that. I'm from education, so I'm just going to education. Social sciences, I have education. I've already taken fourth quartile here, so I'll get only fourth quartile. So I'm just removing that. Just I can apply. So subject is sociology and political science. So it's sociology. I'm just removing that. Side, I'm just asking education. Yeah, these are the education. See, the best, highest ranking journalist review of educational research 20.3, computers and education 19.8, internet and higher education 16.8, educational research review 15.8. These are the very having the top things, side score. Let me go to the fourth quartile. So I can find some of the journals having academy only 0.6, Australian educational computing, Bulletin of Educational Psychology. So some of the journals, Canadian Journal of Education, Open Access 0.6 only, Croatian Journal of Education, Education as a Change. So lots of journals we can find, hundreds of journals, thousands of journals we can find from the Scopus. Why don't you just ask a person who is unknown to you, who is just simply highlighting that this is a publication opportunity? Why, even though they are knocking at your doorsteps of WhatsApp, just ignore it. If you are a genuine, if you need a genuine publication. So sometimes I also got cheating, I think 2-3 years back. So I was into the Scopus science, also sort of also Web of Science. published in Web of Science. He guaranteed. I asked lots of questions, but he guaranteed. But I was having with lots of the other work pressure. I blindly accepted his offer with a mini, I think it's a 7,000 or so I paid. So he told me that it will take a review. It's a proper publication. So I told him that I don't want an immediate publication. So he took time for review. After 2 months, he told me that it's published. But later, I started searching on Web of Science, but it is not there. It is simply saying that I did all my efforts to make the manuscript very nice, because I was not I didn't compromise the citation. Every in-text citation I did. All the data I did it properly, I collected it, I analyzed it properly and made lots and lots of tables. Still, what happened is my paper has gone. It is as one of the peer review papers, it is available, but at the same time, it is not in the Web of Science. So this has happened. So never ever go for this kind of easiness. Nothing will happen. Nobody will give you easy. So only requirement is that we have to work hard. We have to submit properly. So well in advance, try, especially the researchers, research scholars, I'm telling you, never ever go for an easiness in terms of publication. Go for a just kind of this. Okay. This thing, UGC cares, corpus, whatever it is, go and publish. Cover page and abstract. I'm not going to this. Just my concern is that what is your publication? Sometimes people have, sir, I have done it. I have small kids. I was pregnant. My marriage happened after that. Please take my paper. Excuses. How dare you to say that excuses into an academic community? Academics and personal life is totally different. If you are not supposed to perform in academics, leave it then and there itself. That is, we have to have courage to compromise both in terms of quality. Family needed, academics needed. We have to have a balance between. Never ever say that if you have a trouble at home, try to find out some other time to do your academics. I don't say that you are not going to be in academics. You have to come to academics. Take this as a challenge. Have some smart works. Do it well in advance. Prepare a rigorous plan. Everything is possible. Complete family occupied. Still you can do research. But you should not blame your academics on the basis of your family life. That way. You have opted the academics along with the family. So try to understand these both are having its own significance. Never ever compliment, never ever having a contradiction, complement each other. I'm just, this is a kind of take it as a motivation, not otherwise. Now, see, whenever you're applying or submitting a paper to anyone, read the instruction properly. A TV mil jayega, so what we do is, if you have a TV, you will go through the manuals. If you have an iPhone, what do? Immediately you start, putting your fingers here and there? If you have a very good electronic equipment, for example, a new washing machine you purchase, you will see the manual. Otherwise, somebody will come to your home as a company representative. They will detail out you. They will illustrate you how to do that. Demonstration given. This way, paper submission also becomes a rigorous kind of it. Do that. Okay. So that is the requirement. So journal, go to the journal, take the manual of submission, rigorously structure your paper, do it. That is the only thing. I don't want to say anything about it, because everywhere, every journal database that is having educational review. Let me take it. Journal of Educational Review. We have just anything. I'm just taking this. Educational governance in research. I'm just typing it. Educational governance in research. It's a journal. Just whatever it is. Educational governance research. Okay, governance in research. Okay, this is. Educational governance. Let me take. Okay. Just taking. Let me take this Emerald Journal. Educational. What was it? International Journal of Educational Management. Okay. So see, definitely there will be submission. Where is the submission? I'm just looking into accepting the cookies. There will be submission. Editors, authors, about Emerald. I'm just taking it as services. Other services are the publication site map, about Emerald, reviewers, researchers, services, about services. So where is the submission? Maybe somewhere else. It's about different journals. So I'm just taking a non-journal for me. So I'm just taking, but generally I take British Journal of Educational Psychology. One of the good journals. BJS. Okay. BJS is one of the British Journal of Educational Psychology. See, contribute. So front page itself is contribute. How to contribute? Just see author guidelines. Author guidelines. So everywhere, once, twice, thrice, maybe 10 times, read the entire thing. How to structure, how to do, what is a submission, date, aims and scope, manuscript. Sometimes now I can tell you that I submitted a paper to one of the Russian journals. Immediately I got a rejection. The thing is that I didn't do exactly as per the standards. Scope was something else. I submitted a scope paper that is out of their scope. So I got immediate rejection, even though I structured everything properly. Now see, manuscript, title page, manuscript, author, abstract kaise honi chahiye, how to be abstract. Abstract is a structured abstract here. 250 only. Headings is required in abstract. Background is required in 2 sentences. Aims 1 or 2 sentences. Regarding sample, you have to give 1 or 2 sentences. Method, you have to give. Result and conclusion, a few sentences. Total, you should have 250 words only. So if you submitted the other descriptive abstract, they will not consider because they have already clearly mentioned abstract should be a structured abstract, not more than 250 words. So this is the criteria for the journal. So you have to mention that, you have to ensure that keyword to be given, acknowledgement is given, main text file mein kya honi chahiye, what should be there, how to give it, table, how to give the tables, how to describe, reference, how to do, tables and figures, how to do, format is given, supporting information, what are the requirements, some FAQs for frequently asked questions are given, general style points are written, author must avoid use of sexist or any other discriminatory language, abbreviations, in general, terms should not be abbreviated unless they are repeatedly, and abbreviations is helpful to the reader. See, if you are talking about NCERT, NCERT is very common. So you cannot write NCERT as such in the beginning. Initially, you have to write National Council of Educational Research and Training within brackets NCERT. Then only you can use NCERT for the next time. Everything they have mentioned, unit of measurement should be given, effect size, numbers, manuscript preparation tips, everything is given. See, they are helping you to prepare the manuscript submission, manuscript submission available, waiting search engine optimization, writing for search engine optimization. Everything is very clearly given by the journal databases. Some model papers, read some model papers. If you go to the home, there are many papers available as free access, full text available. See that, how they are structuring the titles. So accordingly, you have to structure. This is a kind of flow. Okay, got it. Now I'm just not looking into some do's and don'ts. Citation manual I have already mentioned. And finally, some do's and don'ts. Some softwares are available, like Rayan is a software for systematic review. Canva is a software that helps you to develop your figures, some conceptual diagrams. It will help Canva. Mentally, Internet and Zotero, these will help you to manage your references, manage your citation. SiteNet Explorer is the Voice Viewer. These are also for review purposes you can use. Origin Lab. All these are some of the software. I'll share the PPT, no worries. Writing assistant, definitely we use a writing assistant like Grammarly, Ginger, Quillbot, and Jasper. You are not an English expert all the time. You are not a native speaker. You don't know what is the exact language of the professional standards. Not always. You are a good researcher of science. You are a good researcher of education. You know everything about educational research. You know wonderfully to structure a paper, but it may not be an indication that you know the better language. So use some of the grammar correction software, grammar correction database like Grammarly, Ginger, Quillbot and Jasper AI. These will help you to paraphrase. Influency paraphrasing, creative paraphrasing, formal paraphrasing, standard paraphrasing, shortening, lengthening, everything will be done by Quillbot if you have a subscribed version. It's a nominal amount. As a gang, as a group, make and subscribe. It will help you to do that. Never else, okay, Quillbot, we don't have account, how to do that? My college is not given. Mine is a college. I'm a private student. I'm distance mode. I'm not attending the college. I'm working candidate. How do I get it? Never ever go for these kind of excuses. Have a group. Build a group of 3-4 people, 5 people. Purchase the Ginger, purchase Grammarly or Quillbot of 6,000 or 7,000 rupees. Contribute 1,000. You are getting 10,000 as a fellowship, or you are getting salary. So just 1,000 per year contribute. Have an exposure. Do it properly. So that kind of things we have to do. Now, these are some of the do's and don'ts. Don't misrepresent yourself. Sometimes people that academia, sometimes I'll get lots of updates. This paper, whether Sameerbabu, are you a Sameerbabu contributed this paper? So sometimes I can also add if, but that is not a good habit. Misrepresentation will not give you, be honest to the readers. Write it clearly. Do not include anything that doesn't answer your question. People write some very difficult language. No, the language should be layman's language, simple language. Don't lengthen your paper unnecessarily. Hundreds of pages or 20 normal paper is okay. Then they will claim that, sir, I cannot, because this is very genuine. My research was very good. So I am not supposed to remove all these. No, you are not writing a book. This is journal article. So there is a limit, 2,000, 4,000, maximum 4,000 words. More than that, a sentence, even after that, they will not entertain. Be sure that, make sure that you are in the limit. Don't reveal incomplete details. You don't have an idea, proper idea, but somewhere you got an idea. So somewhere you have read some vague information. Never ever go for such kind of writing the vague or incomplete information. I've already mentioned, don't lengthen. Too many generalization. We have a criteria of too many generalization. Government schools are doing very poor in Delhi. Only Kerala is very good. Others are very poor in the education. These are some generalization. Don't write in vacuum. Same way, we have vacuum. What is vacuum? Vacuum. Without any references, you are writing. Without teachers are good for nothing. All the teaching, there is no method for teaching mathematics, or my method is superb. These are some of the attitude of researchers write in the need and significance. See, no method is available to teach properly the mathematics. That is why I tried this blended learning, or the flipping, or the new successive approximation model based. I have developed strategies. So how can you write if you have a clear-cut evidence? Then you can write. Otherwise, no. Don't forget to have references properly. Citing Wikipedia is not recommended because Wikipedia is editable. It is a good resource, of course. We have to accept it. Never criticize that Wikipedia is poor. No, Wikipedia is good. At the same time, after review, when your editing is okay, they will continue with it. So today's may not be available next year. Somebody can do that, edit. Somebody can remove it. Okay, this is not good information. So please remove it. If you are giving the argument substantiated, definitely it will be removed. Don't plagiarize. Proofreading is required. Proofing is required. That is, you proofread. Give to your supervisor or the other teachers or professors, by your colleagues. Maximum 2-3 proofreading is required to make a wonderful thing.
लेकिन बिचारी खाली आंखें एक बार एड्रेस करे तो पूरा कांग्रेस को लिखा बेटा 15 साल
की book publication. Actually, I don't recommend it. Still, book publication is in Rajaram Mohan Roy ISBN. You can take ISBN through Rajaram Mohan Roy ISBN agency if you're publishing self. But actually, I don't recommend, because if you publish self, you will get a book, but at the same time, nobody will understand what you have written. So you better to give to publishers with no fees, with nominal fees. You can submit to the publisher, because so that it will be distributed. So once it is distributed, the people start reading. Okay, so please use the ISBN only for the conference. If your college is organizing something, use an ISBN through this, then it will be possible. Collaboration is required. Collaboration. Some papers, if you submit to some journals, they will not accept your paper, even though it is wonderful. They will tell you that no collaboration, reject. Some of the papers, some of the journals required at least one collaborator, otherwise you are not eligible to submit. See that? Because we know that 1 + 1 is not equal to 2. It is more than 2 always. If 2 academicians together work, they will produce something more. Support system is required. Plagiarism service is required. We need paraphrasers and writing assistants. Then only we can go ahead. Please consider all these matters. These are some of the conference proceedings models that everywhere you can. I just Google it. I took it. So Amity, wala hai, Amity, some Indiana, low Indiana model of things, conference policies, style guide. So conference have their own style guide. So never ever make an article in advance and submit somewhere. Read the conference proceeding, read the guidelines for all those, understand the structure of the paper, structure it, then submit. That is the process. Not submit, not making the paper first. So you have to write to the journal, not the paper to the journal. You have to write as per the journal. So identify the journal, manuscript submission guidelines, and some of the model papers. Read it, recognize it, understand it, critically evaluate it, structure your paper accordingly, then go for submission. Then this is all about my presentation. I am not talking about the misconduct. Now I just wind up my presentations. Thank you so much. Now I am happy to have some of your questions. I recommend you to go through the authentic sources for getting the information about the journals. I have mentioned here the web of Scopus and the UGC Care. Never, now onwards, never ever ask somebody regarding the journal. What is journal? Which is journal? When to publish? Directly submit your paper. Wait till 1 year or 2 years. Get it published. Prepare well in advance for your publication. Yes, with this was I conclude. Thank you. Thank you so much for the organizer that I got another opportunity to interact with the learned audience here. I'm happy to have some questions. I'll share the PPT immediately after the class. I'll share the PPT to Dr. Nasir Ali. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I have a question regarding paraphrasing.
Yes.
Can you please tell me any free software for research scholar or for professors or
Okay.
academicians? Some free softwares.
So completely free, I don't know exactly. I don't have any information, but Toolbot is we give you some kind of paraphrasing. To a great extent, it is free, not completely.
Okay,
not completely, but it is a very nominal, through very nominal amount you can have it. I already told you, collaborate with a group of people, 3-4 people, contribute 1,000 or 2,000, then have it, use it for the long year. It will help you to, I mean, the drastic change will be there. So you are getting the vocabulary, you are getting the punctuation errors. So that is good actually. Yes.
Okay. So another question is, if someone get free software, is this reliable for research?
Paraphrasing, it is reliable. Paraphrasing is reliable. It's okay. But you can also see whether the content is properly written or not. But some case of plagiarism, you cannot depend all the software, free software. You cannot depend.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your support.
I think, sir, now paraphrasing softwares are understood as the softwares for removing plagiarism.
Yes,
So, and actually, it is not the purpose of paraphrasing software.
Actually, paraphrasing, people have a different concern about paraphrasing. Paraphrasing, not simply copying, pasting, and doing. Actually, paraphrasing is do your paraphrasing first. My rule of paraphrasing is that take the concern from one. Suppose you are copying from somewhere, copy and paste it in a word file. Now you do your paraphrasing and structuring of your paper yourself. Go to get it done the grammar check with Grammarly. Now you go for Quillbot for paraphrasing. Not directly. Never ever go for direct paraphrasing. Do it yourself as manually. Now take it and correct it through Grammarly. Then again go for paraphrasing through Quillbot. That is the requirement. Not directly. Directly copy paste to Quillbot and get it done. No, it is not possible.
Yes.
Do it exercise yourself. Then go for paraphrasing. Then it will not be an issue.
Exactly. As sir mentioned, research scholars especially particularly must not think that if they are having the subscription to any paraphrasing softwares like Quillbot, they can easily copy from somewhere and paraphrase it in the software and use it in their thesis without even giving any the citation. It's not like that. Actually, if we are not that competent to make our writing in the standards, in the standard format,
Yes,
we
exactly,
make use of the Quillbot for making our written articles or material into a standard way of writing style. For that purpose, we can use Quillbot.
Yes, exactly. The exercise as a researcher, you should have the exercise. There is no shortcut for your rigorous research work. Research you have to do, but some issues will happen while you are doing. You are not a professional, so in that case, you can use the expertise of this kind.
Thank you so much, sir. Both of you. Thank you so much, sir.
And the Turnitin software has recently started detecting AI content also. So if we take, if we simply use paraphrased content from Quillbot like softwares, Turnitin can identify. Or if
Yes, that is possible. So never ever go for shortcut. There is no shortcut in anything. Like we are submitting to a journal, publishing in one or 2 days. Same way, if you are using the paraphrasing software, it will be identified. So do your work but take the support. They will support you. They will scaffold your research work. They will not replace your energy. Actually, energy, we have to work hard, but as a spices, they will they will work as a spices in the biryani. It will support, it will make the dish more and more rich.
Right. And the Turnitin software, if you are having the student account arranged from any means, that may not be showing you the AI content, that plagiarism, that similarity index of the AI content. But when the university uses the plagiarism checking softwares, definitely in the days to come, the software will be having the AI detection. So at present, in Turnitin, only in teacher account, this AI contents similarity index will be shown, not student account. So please be very careful and make use of all these softwares for improving the quality of the papers, not as a shortcut. And please, others may ask questions.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, can you please tell me what is site score?
Yes, why not?
Hello.
Yes, it's an index.
Hello,
Yes.
sir.
It's an
Hello,
index.
sir.
Actually, now exactly definition I don't know. I'll share with you. So okay, I'll share. I'll
Sir, a
exact
question.
definition. Okay.
Sir, a question regarding publishing books, sir.
Yes, yes.
I have already published a book in medium English, and now there is a trend to publish in the mother tongue. So, what is the assurance to be taken before publishing the exact copy of that book in other language? Is there any
Okay, if
rule or assurance?
as I understood, if you are repeating the same as a translated work, in academically you will not get any point.
Yes.
Because if you are translating others' work to local language, Hindi or whatever is your language, you will get a point. Because sometimes, for example, you have a book of Rousseau, Emile. So Emile you are converting to your local language, Hindi. So you will get a point that you have translated Emile completely, Rousseau's Emile completely to Hindi. So you will get a translator. As a translator, you will get a point. If you are translating your own work to local language, you will not get any point, but you can assure that local people are reading. You are not getting any academic point actually.
Actually, not in need of any points, but is there any rule or assurance to be taken?
That exactly I don't know. I think if the author is saying there is no issue in translation, and the main thing is that copyright. If your publisher is having a copyright issue, you have to take the consent of them.
Okay. Thank you.
Because copyright issue is there everywhere. So if the publisher is having the copyright, you have to get the permission initially. Otherwise, they will go for the legal action.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, the first author, third author having issue. Actually, in India, when you apply for something, we are having a first author is getting 70%. All the other authors are getting 30 each. That is the UGC criteria you must have. When you are applying for some of the foreign universities, they will never consider that. If you are an author, if you have a citation, you will be considered. But in some of the universities, when you apply for some funding, Western universities, or some postdoctoral fellowship or research fellowship, they will mention that you should have articles with first authorship. Because of course, the first author is those who are making the what we call it as the outline of the publication. Those who are proposing the publication will be the first author. So first author is having its own relevance. The corresponding author, he is the lead author. He will be contacting for the publication inquiries, the other clarifications regarding your data. He's having a value because in sometimes a corresponding author is a value, but Indian criteria is totally different. We cannot value it with the international standards. In India, I don't know why we are first and second author. Actually, in India, we are not strictly following the authorship rules. Because the researcher is publishing, some of the supervisors are not even have a look at what paper is. They will get the copy. Then, okay, you publish journal. Oh, is my name there? Yes, yes, he is happy. She is happy. They are not looking into what the content is, what kind of plagiarism is, whether plagiarism is checked or not. So if you are a good researcher, you should. I told my researchers that never ever put my name without my knowledge and understanding. If so one of my researchers, he put my name and presented a conference paper. So I shouted at him like anything, because without my knowledge, he made a presentation. Who knows that it was a blunder or it was a success? So this should not be there. So if you are considering that it is good, you have to follow this kind of rules. Otherwise, now they are looking into some of the PPTs in SlideShare. They are taking it PPT and simply presenting. People will understand and value you. Okay, this person is talking this much, and he's a co-author of this paper. What a blunder he is doing. That kind of comments we are getting either directly or indirectly. So we have to be very cautious about the co-authorship. So we are lucky that in India we don't have such kind of implementation of rigorous rules. Even though we have rules of plagiarism, we are not very rigorous in implement. So it's that much lucky if many of our researchers and teachers are. Yes.
Anything else to discuss?
Oh, book publication has no value with ISBN. I think without ISBN, no publication. If you don't have an ISBN for a book or ISSN for a journal, it will not be counted as just a volume you have. You can say that I have written a good paper. You can share with your friends and relatives or even academicians, but it will not be counted for anything. But you can do that as a working paper. You don't have money. You're just putting some of the ideas. You are just clipping it and circulating. That is possible. But without ISBN, it will not be considered as a book. Book publication has a value. I think in India, for assistant professorship, I think no value for book publication these days. If you're applying for a higher position, book publication has a value. But actually, never ever go to the value point. If you're an academician, you should have a rigorous kind of nature. Every year you are, or every 2 years you are publishing a book, or every 5 years you are publishing a book. Doesn't matter whether it's having value. Anyway, if you are an author, people will admire you. If you have a good publication, they will read it. You will get the money back. You will get the royalty if it is a good publisher. So go for such kind of things. You are submitting a journal, submitting to a book for a Sage publication. They will give you money. Lakhs of rupees you are getting. Royalty you are getting. So that kind of things we have to. Salary, I don't want to share the salary. Actually, salary is it is very clear in the this, even though it is not related to that, but we are linking with the research with the output salary. So salary is mentioned in the application form. Take any application form, any JNU is notified now. See the JNU notification. Okay. As other than UGC CARE journal also is valid. Many of the universities are valuing as peer review, but better to go for Scopus, and if it is a good publication, better to go for that. Anywhere, go for good publications. But some of the universities and colleges are very strict about UGC CARE. They will take only the UGC CARE. So in such a cases, don't go for if it is an academic oriented publication. Otherwise, general one, anywhere you can publish. Okay.
I hope, sir, I hope the queries are over.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, we will wind up this session. Thank you very much, Dr. Sameerbabu, for a wonderful presentation. Actually, we felt that what you spoke today or what you discussed today are from your experience only. So that made a difference in your presentation also. Many participants who attended yesterday's session had already given a good background of academic publication in its conceptual aspect or theoretical aspect. But today, when they got a chance to interact with you in this session, I hope many practical aspects are also touched. And I'm getting many messages from the participants in the WhatsApp to arrange some sessions on plagiarism or the paper publication, particularly academic publication, how to prepare the paper, how to prepare the cover letter, etc. So I hope Dr. Sameerbabu will be accepting if we are our invitation as a resource person. If we are arranging a day or a 2-day workshop, particularly for those things to discuss. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, we will do. Thank you.
Yeah, inshallah, we'll do. Thank you very much, all the participants and the resource person for making the session wonderful one. And tomorrow's session, as today, we'll begin at 2 p.m. sharp. Thank you very much. The recorded version of the session will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.